Right then, there's a quick walk around video for a fabulous Lexus RX 450. This is the SEI model. It's covered just 65,000 miles with a full service history. Finished in this beautiful metallic grey with oak and beige leather interior. It's also got the exterior styling additions, the front and rear bumpers, extensions. It just really adds substance to the car with the roof rails as well. The car is in fabulous condition, and I'm maybe a bit biased because this is actually my own car. So unfortunately, it is time to say goodbye because she is a wonderful, wonderful car and drives beautifully, as you'll find out in the following road test video. But to go around the car, very, very clean and tidy. Lights and lenses are completely clean. There's no cracks or condensation in them. Bonnet, hardly a stone chip anywhere, any note. It's absolutely beautifully clean. Near side, wonderfully smooth in the panel work. Can't see any obvious indentations there at all. Near side front alloy, pretty much unmarked, which is remarkable for a near side alloy. Panel work, it's been polished, it's been cleaned off but not polished, I should say. But it's just sort of natural gleam to paintwork. Near side rear alloy again, absolutely beautiful. Looking on the back, again, generally very clean, tidy. The odd tiny little mark, and I'm talking tiny, we're talking a 13-year-old car. Offside, again, incredibly smooth in the panel work there. Offside rear alloy, again, pretty much unmarked. The remaining panel work is fantastic. I mean, there will be a microscopic mark. There's going to be something somewhere, but you have to look very, very hard indeed to find it, because it is, for its age and mileage, one of the very, very best examples. Into the boot area, good sized boots on the car, and unlike so many of this vintage, it's been kept beautifully. Fabrics look almost like new. Load liner fitted so the carpet there underneath is in beautiful condition. Quick release Lexus tow bars there as well, by the way, and I use that. I've got my push bike on the back, and it looks like it's hardly ever been used. Coming to the back now, I've got this beautiful interior. The oak and beige looks absolutely stunning on the car. Rarely does a video do it justice, and this will almost certainly be the case. And it's been kept superbly back here. From the front and passenger side, you'll see a full set of original Lexus mats on the car. Passenger seat again, very, very good condition for the age. Coming to the front now, door top again, pristine. Footwell area is very clean and tidy. The driver's seat again for the age and mileage. It's got wear, obviously it has, but compared to most of this vintage, it is miles better. So inside the car now, engine's running as always, so the dash can be seen illuminated. Dashboard looks pretty much like brand new. It's incredibly clean. Sat nav, you can see, working exactly as it should. And then pop the car into reverse, you can see the rear camera working exactly as intended as well. But it is absolutely stunning in here. Just to quickly show you the binnacle there, 65,789 miles, and there are no warnings on the dashboard at all. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual, pack and lock and roll key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Lexus RX 450 SEI, registered HK60EEF. Mileage is just 65,780 miles. The reason we do all of our videos, especially, as I always say, this road test section, is to ensure that if anyone's online, they get to see the very car advertised actually in operation. Reason being that, you know, we've been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs or description. You only to get there and find out there's a fundamental problem that shows up as soon as you test drive the car. So that's why we do it. Also done on these very quiet country roads in this lovely part of Gloucestershire. And this actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on. Hopefully then it'll be representative of, you know, what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. This car's a bit different to our normal cars because it isn't our car, actually it's my car. But although you're buying it from myself, the company will provide it with a 3-month warranty separately from myself. As you'll know from the walk around section, you know, it's been very, very well maintained. just being on a lovely holiday to Wales, and it was brilliant for that trip. Absolutely brilliant, I have to say. It drives absolutely beautifully. Press the power button and the hybrid sort of whirs into life straight away. Those who aren't aware, and I'm sure you all do by now, but for those that don't, these are a self-charging hybrid. So basically, in essence, you're going to drive, run and own the car as you would do any normal petrol car. It's no more complicated than that. So all you're going to do, you're going to get low on fuel, you're going to put fuel in the car, and off you go again. Stand at the pump for 2 minutes, and that's it. Where it's very clever, of course, is it's running a 3.5 V6 petrol with a battery in the back, which gives it extra oomph, extra economy. So when you're doesn't need it, it'll run in electric only. And that's it. There's no range anxiety. You're not going to run low on battery. It won't run out. That's the whole point of it. But all that gobbledygook aside, it's just the way it drives, which is why I adore these cars. It's so smooth. The transitions between what it's doing, are all but imperceptible. It's engineering genius because it's also incredibly tough and reliable over huge mileages. And this is, just a classic example one. The engine is so smooth, so quiet. This is a luxury SUV, but when you do put your foot down, you're greeted in the distance with that lovely V6 sound, which doesn't assault the ears. It's just a really nicely done setup. And as I said, on long trips, it's a brilliant companion, and the flexibility, this smoothness of the drive, that's the shocking thing for most people that get in these that have just driven, normal, petrol or diesel competitors. They'll be hooked up to, generally speaking, a normal transmission, and that where they tend to sort of find themselves a little bit clunky is when you hit the kick down or you do low speed maneuvers. They can be a little bit clunky, a little bit indecisive, and that's where these excel. They are effectively like a electric car at lower speeds in particular, and you've got this serene silence as you're doing everything, this silky smoothness, nothing jolts, nothing jars. And when you're on the move, the CVT is brilliant, because it always works better, CVT, with bigger engines, because it's not having to rev up and down so much. But when you do put your foot down, revs pick up, get to the speed you want to, back off, and it all smooths off. Don't believe the utter tosh and garbage that the motoring press come out with. When you read one, they shove the foot down hard, and they think that's how everybody drives a car at all times. It's not. It's how no one has ever driven an RX 450 has driven one, in my experience. If you want to drive the car like an AMG ML or some sporty X5, in reality it probably isn't the car for you. These are wonderfully smooth companions. You drive them smoothly, they will respond beautifully, and it's just genius. It really is. Also, there are no warning lights on the dashboard. There's fuel temperature gauge, running at just over a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on one of these as well. In terms of fuel economy, particularly on longer trips, way better than any kind of X5 or Q7 I've ever driven over, and I have done long distances in those things. The trip to Wales, 4 on board, driving along, at legal speeds, I was averaging around 35 to the gallon. If I'm doing shorter trips, I'll be high 20s, so it just depends on where you're driving, how you're driving, and that's me being absolutely brutally honest. With what you can get, I've got customers getting way more than that, so it's not all about, if I'm driving like this, I'll be, up to 40. So if that's your commute. Steering tracks dead straight. It's very nicely weighted. It's accurate and precise. That's all you can ask of a car like this, but it works beautifully with the chassis of the car, which of course is very comfortable indeed. But you know what's less expected, mate, it just deals with corners really nicely as well. You don't get, you know, the old 400, which I still love, by the way. You know, it was more kind of roly-poly, especially through the corners like that one there. It'd kind of keel over a bit more. These then tend to stay a lot flatter. You know, my kids in the back didn't feel as though they'd been sort of thrown about, even on some sort of wonderful A and B roads up in North Wales. And there's no clonks, no rattles on suspension, all incredibly tight and taut. Brakes again are fantastic on the car. There's no pulsing or vibrations at all. And obviously I've done plenty of miles in it, so you know, I know exactly how they feel. Inside the car, it's been kept absolutely beautifully, really has. And I've always gone generally for my own cars with the sort of the lighter, the oaken beige with the contrast with the darker trim inside the car. It just really brightens up the interior of the car, especially on dull days, especially in the winter. But on baking hot summer days, of which I think we've had about 3.5 this year, it doesn't generate the heat inside the car that black leather does. So when I get in with shorts on in the summer, you don't burn the back of your legs. It's just a lovely place to sit, and of course beautifully constructed by Lexus. Dead easy to use, dead easy to operate. Everything's working as it should. Air conditioning blows ice cold. Sat nav working perfectly. Heated seats. You've got your mouse control here for the sat nav, which, you know, when I've jumped out of my 400, I was like, how's that all going to work? You know, faffed around with it for a day or two. Initially didn't like it, but now love it because it's so easy. Actually, it's just using it that makes it easier. You get used to how the little mouse here works with enter buttons on the side, so you don't think about it, whereas initially I was just thinking about it. But everything operates perfectly. The switchgear, as always with Lexus, has a beautiful quality of actuation. All the little buttons, everything that they could cheapen, they didn't. And then you got this classic Lexus display binnacle in front of me. Lovely backlighting, lovely detailing, just done absolutely superbly. And it's leather-bound steering wheel, which is in fantastic condition as well, and feels great to hold. Can't fault it. It drives absolutely beautifully, and as I've done plenty of miles in it, so I know exactly how this car drives. It is a wonderful car in every single way, and I'll be incredibly sad to see this one go.